just take a look and see if there's somebody positioned near the trail tonight on the left. I suspect there will be, but we'll see. We'll take a look here. That's happening. No one there. Nothing on this side, so let's take a peek. It's not quite 10 yet, it's like 9:47. Right away. As soon as I start to move, you'll see this here. So did you see that there? So I start to move, this guy like runs up behind me, then he turns and goes back. Take a look, notice that? So as soon as I started to move toward the trail, he starts running up behind. I think he probably texted somebody just to let them know where I was going, but I haven't started to move yet, so that's strange. Let's see. Yeah, he was kind of idling by the side there. Anyway, I could cross over that way, I guess. I'll go this way. Let's see what we have. See if they have the police again tonight, or a special constable. Yeah, Friday night, as soon as I came to the end of the trail here, you can see how dark it is here. They had the police waiting, right? Synchronization. The reason they usually have somebody lingering out there is because as you go down this trail here, I don't think there's any cameras or anything like down here. So that's so they can let them know where I'm going, because they have to monitor the person at all times. So if you're going someplace like this where there's no cameras, unless there are hidden cameras here and I just don't know about them, but I don't see anything right here, around here. So that's why they often have people lingering there. And that was kind of weird. He started running towards the direction where I was going, and then he just turns and stops and goes back. He had been there staring at a phone too, so maybe that was just to tip them off as to which direction I was going. Like, I'm not going to go that direction. They know that. I wouldn't. So there's only one way on the trail I'm going to go. So they know it's going to be up here, right? So let's see what they have tonight. Yeah, it's the holiday Monday. Victoria Day, I guess it is. And anyway, a little bit cold tonight, actually. Oh, it looks like, what are those? Oh, those are branches of it. Thought they were discarded fireworks. I know they have some of those going on tonight. Usually they do anyway. So we'll have something here probably as I come out, constables or police, or at the intersection up there. Something there. Probably have some CSIS people wandering back and forth up here too as they come out. Let's see. Anyway. Let's see what we have. So the police synchronized right as I got up there. I doubt maybe they'll do the same thing, but usually it's not exactly the same thing. The next day, well, it's not the next day, but it's the next day going back to work. So, let's see what we have here. As you can see, it's pretty quiet out here, as would typically be the case around this time of night. Yeah, right there. That's the same guy who was at the station too. Wondering, you could simply check it out here. He's moving fast because they told him probably to synchronize and come up here with where I was going. So that's why he turned abruptly. I think that's the same guy, but I'm not certain. Okay, I'm gonna go wander back here. Exact. But Typically you wouldn't have anyone wandering around up there because there's buses that go back and forth, right? So you could easily just take a bus. Not many people are going to walk up back and forth up there, but let's walk. Wait till he goes up. They'll probably have a bunch more people prepared to come. He's on that side there, okay. I think that's the guy who they had standing there. So I guess as I started to move, they had him go that way so that he'd come up and I'd see him when I come up here. I guess that's it. I think that's the same person. I can't tell for sure. It's a bit of a distance, so I don't know how far this trail goes. I think it goes a fair distance actually, but I've never walked much further down here. Just turn and go back out here, see what else we have here. He's moved along up ahead there. Yeah, I guess maybe that's why they had him turn and go the other. I don't know if that, or maybe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that isn't the same guy. Could be just some other person wandering. Let's see what we have here. If there's nothing up here when I come up here, you may have like some synchronization up there. They'll have something pull up there at the intersection or something. Police or constable or one of those parking enforcement guys who don't actually enforce parking. At least at nighttime they don't. No one else wandering down there on that side. Okay, we'll cross here and pass along here. Nothing on that side. Yeah, if you have any ability, like if you're not a part of this system, and I know a lot of people here are, but if you're not, and you don't like the way things are going, I would highly suggest, if you have resources, leave the country. I mean, that may sound like a little bit, you know, a lot of people might be averse to doing that because they think, you know, they grew up. It's going to get really bad. I'm telling you. If I had the ability to leave and could get a job right away, I would leave tomorrow. And that's no exaggeration. I would leave tomorrow if I could. Yeah, it's going to get really bad here, and it's just like the beginning of it, right? Well, it's not the beginning, but they're turning things up a lot, put it that way, in terms of things that they're doing and pushing these agendas. They're going to have the... That's the same guy who's in front of the station. You can see how he squirmed up behind me there, so he started to move. Yeah, that's the same guy. And there was no one down there, so when I looked, he must have really run quickly behind me there, because there was nobody there when I looked. As soon as I came up from the path, there was no one there. Let's wait and see where he's going to go. Yeah, that was the guy who they had. He came back to the trail so that I'd see him on the trail. Started moving towards the trail, turned and went back. He must have come running, because there was nobody here. As you can see when I crossed, there was nobody at all. So they had him come running up behind, I guess. I don't know. Let's just wait and see where he's going to go. Yeah, because, okay, so I was over there. The constable or somebody idling there. Parking, doing nothing. Probably the parking enforcement person. When I crossed from over there, just across the street there was nobody on this side. I looked out. So he must have run up really quickly, or he came down the trail. Maybe he came down from behind on the trail. So this is an Ottawa parking enforcement, either a constable or a parking enforcement person parked across there. And yeah, you saw that guy at the station, so he's waiting for me to come up here. Looks like it's idle for a minute here. This could be police, I don't know. We're just gonna see for a bit here. if I stand here for any amount of time, you'll see they'll send either the constables or the police there. So on that side, yeah, that's that guy. It looks like he's just standing up there. But you can see, you see how fast he came out. So he must have come behind the trail just after I came out. And he must have been running because there was nobody there at all when I crossed. So you can see that. Now he's kind of positioned at the end of the street there. And then this guy's here getting paid to sit there doing nothing. It's either a constable or a parking enforcement person. I'm not going to go down there and look, but we'll just watch from here. Could be a cop too, I don't know, I can't tell from here, so let's see from this side. Yeah, that guy's still standing there, see at the street there? So he was told to go up to the, because I was going to cross that field, I was going to turn to the right, and that was just, literally just, he came up behind me just as I was at the field, and now he's just positioned there, standing at the end of the street there, just not moving, just standing there. And then this here, you can see here. Maybe what I'll do is, let me see. Okay, so is he moving now? I can't tell. No, he's just standing there. That's not a bus stop either. That's just, he's just standing at the street corner. Okay, I'm gonna go back this way. Check it out as soon as I turn here. Okay, so up there, right? Now as soon as I turn here, you got them doing the patrol here. So usual antics tonight, so he's trying to go to work. He's parked right there too, so I can't see who it is. That person there. It's either what's it called, transit employee or a special constable, I think, probably. Or sorry, not a transit employee, parking enforcement or a special constable. And so watch from this way. Yeah, when I came up from here, as you saw, there's nobody right as I was about to cross. So that person, that kid who there looked like a young kid, who was at the station, he's still standing at the end of the street there. And that's not a bus stop. He's just standing there because they were told I would go across that field. So when I crossed, there was absolutely nobody because I looked both directions, and all of a sudden, boom! As soon as I turned, he's like right at my back. And somebody running down here now. I think this is the same person. I don't know. I'm gonna go back down here and just look from here. Let's do a turn here quickly. Yeah, it's the same guy. The same guy they sent. So he must have been running when he came initially. So now he's just. What the heck is this guy doing? Look at this. Yeah, so he was running because he just appeared behind me. But look at this guy, man. What the heck? He's just acting weird. I think they're just sending him, just told him to act crazy like this. Look at him bouncing around. And yeah, because you saw him by the trail, right? So as I was at the trail, he starts going towards the trail, and he abruptly almost rushes backwards. And he's just moving back and forth there. And then, so when I came up here, there's nobody along the trail. He's like swinging his arms around too. Maybe this is just an excuse to get the police to show up because he's acting really unbalanced. I don't know. But so I come up here. There's nobody here when I came up. I looked both ways. As soon as I turn around, he's right at my back. So he must have ran up behind me. And there's two more people. I don't know whether these are the people who were with him up here. This is all an act, though. It's all a stage play. Some street theater nonsense. They switched it up. They didn't have the cops right there tonight because that's what they did on Friday. So instead they got some theatrical nonsense here. These two actors coming back here. It looked like one of these people was with him at the end of the street there. But yeah, like I said, he must have ran because like he was nowhere in sight when I came up. And I specifically waited till he moved on before I started leaving. So they figured I wouldn't suspect that he'd come around this way. And then of course they said, what the heck is this guy doing now? What are we seeing here, man? This is bizarre. One guy there looking like he's kind of at like a half jog, or the guy's like really heavy set and he's like fake jogging. And then another person here. And then over there you got, I think it's it's either a special constable or a parking enforcement person. It could be a cop, but I think the lights would be, you know, red and blue. If it was a cop, you'd see some of those lights. So it looks like it's probably parking enforcement or a constable. But I could be wrong. Maybe it is a cop. But whoever it is, they're just parked up there, sitting there, staring at the street. So you heard the other guy well, multiple times where he says he just comes to park here when it's a slow night. But now they got this lawn blocked off, this trailer. So I guess he'd drive up there and park there. Okay, I'm going to go again. Let's see if this guy comes running back again. Okay, so this other person who looked to have been with him is now crossing. Okay, so I'm going to go now, try to go across the field. We'll see if he comes running up behind. He must have came running, though, because, like I said, he was nowhere in sight when I crossed here. And you can see he's behaving really weirdly, too, swinging his arms around and just looks like he's gone now, but I don't know. As you know, they send these people and give them specific instructions, so it could be an act. Maybe he's not really, you know, unhinged or what. I don't like that word, unhinged. I think it's one of these words where they're programming people to say it all the time. So I'm going to try to avoid saying it. Not that it doesn't have validity, but it's just one of those words you hear over and over, and that's a sign that it's one of these news-speak words that they want people to say. Oh, he's gone. Yeah. Whoever it was is gone. Okay, so that was a nice little stage play. We'll see if we got any more here. I think that was probably parking enforcement there. If it was a constable, they may have driven out and gone up that way. Maybe they did and I missed it, but anyway, a few antics for tonight. Yeah, when I was standing back there, he made this really quick movement, like he was coming behind me at first. And then, so then I stopped and waited. Then he turned and went back the other way. And all of a sudden, boom, he's right behind me when there was nobody there. So he ran, obviously. And, you know, they have them do things like that, kind of get aggressive like that, so they're hoping that you'll react angrily or get violent or something. But I've seen these things too many times. That guy looked like he was just like a teenager, so, but it doesn't matter. They'll use people of any age. They exploit their own children and train them to do these things, these people in the communitarian system, as well as the police and these people, these quote-unquote pillars of the community. That's one of their obligations to the community, is that they train their own kids to do these things, to take part in these activities. It's really sick, but there's ample evidence that they do that. And they even have them dressing in the clothing, like they'll have them wearing the military attire, the camouflage, or that red and black plaid lumberjack attire, which is also the attire of the state. They try and pass it off like it's some Canadian thing, but it's not. You see people wearing it all around, and you see Bill Gates was wearing it for a while. They had a couple ads with him wearing it, so they're told to wear it. And of course the checkerboard is Masonic symbolism too, so yeah, so they even have their kids, like young kids too, like infants, wearing that crap. It's just, and what they're doing is showing through symbolism that, yeah, they're giving them over to the state, essentially. Very, very disturbing, but that's what we see. Because, you know, clothing is symbolic, and these people speak through symbolism, not through words. And that's the way it's been done for years. That's how they send a message to each other. So it's done through symbolism, sometimes through clothing, sometimes through hand signals, things like that. Okay, let's go back here. Excuse me. That's not long, I guess. Not that it matters, I could have just crossed there, but I'll just wait for this actor to go up ahead. Yeah, so again, it's no exaggeration to say that it's a total control system. It's essentially a slave system. But you have people who get a few more perks and a few more benefits, and those are your public servants, your cops, your firefighters, because a lot of them have been raised in families who are a part of the system for generations. And so it goes back, and they've trained their kids too to take part in these things. And they've also trained them not to let emotion or feeling get in the way. So not to empathize, essentially. Because if you have empathy, you're not going to want to do these things to people, right? So there's some sort of a process. I don't pretend to know what it is, but there's too many people who they have who just have no empathy at all. So there's some process that they go through, probably when they're younger. And again, it's generational in this country and many other areas too. But with the communitarian system, the way they've managed to basically usurp all of these processes and the rule of law is through very gradual and incremental implementation, just chipping away here and there, so it doesn't seem too noticeable. And they'll change a law here, change a law there, so that it's at the point now where what is best for the community supersedes the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in this country. That's all that matters. So that's why when you attempt to take any of these people, hold them accountable in court, the court system can just make up excuses, delay the trial, cover up for them, because they're just saying, well, what's best for the community comes first and foremost. And, you know, rule of law is fallen by the wayside. And that's what we're seeing. We're going into lawlessness. And that's very disturbing. Because you cannot have some people in, you know, certain amounts of the population who the law applies to and others who it does not. You have to apply it equally, otherwise it's not democracy. And we see that it's not. It's not being applied equally. I'm not protected in the same way under the law as others would be. And so that's not democracy. That's not a democratic process.
Give me a break. See, that's right. Fake call for sure. They didn't drive the ambulance right up here, but you know it's a fake call. Guaranteed. Yeah. You're gonna bring the person out on the stretcher and have them start laughing again like they did the other time? Or at least she's got her mask on and she's keeping everyone safe. That's always good to see. Oh, silly, silly stuff. That's down there, the ambulance. So they brought them to walk past me. They parked the ambulance down there. Obviously it's a fake call. I'm surprised they didn't bring it up here though, all the way up here. See, it's at the end there. It's down at the end. They parked it there. Give me a break.
Oh, police right there. What's the number? Can't see the number. 89? Could be 89. Yeah, police there for now. Can't see the number. 89? Could be 89. Yeah, police there for now. as I'm on my way to work. Last night they had the Ottawa police drove by my work, but what they did was, obviously they're aware that I recorded that previous footage and put it out there. So what they did last night was, you know, something dirty and devious, which is not surprising. That's all they do, like dirty, devious, deceitful things. So last night they exploited a couple children, a couple kids. So they had these kids on bikes riding by just before the police came, so that they would almost kind of be in the frame when the police came, and so that if it picked them up, they'd kind of be, although when I looked at the footage, they still weren't really identifiable. You couldn't see who they were, but that's what they'll do. They'll even exploit children, because the dirty, devious, deceitful Ottawa police don't want the videos put up showing what they're doing. And so that's what they do. Everything they do is deceitful and consists of lying and, you know, devious behavior, as you already know by now if you've seen the footage that I have for 3 years. So last night they exploited a couple kids, and this was at, like, I think it was around, it was after midnight anyway, on a weeknight, and so they had them ride by on bicycles, and there wouldn't usually be people doing that at that time of night there at all. So I noticed them out of the corner of my eye, and I had the camera already running. And then, of course, I said, okay, the police go behind it. So that's so that they would be close enough to be in the frame, but I could still edit them out of the frame. Realistically, you can't see who they are anyway. So I did keep that footage. But those are the types of things they'll do. They'll exploit children, because these people in the communitarian system, when there's something like that, they have to do it. They have no choice. They have to go and go along with the police while they're harassing and stalking people. And they'll even use their own children, and they have to go with the police to do these things. So they will exploit children. They'll exploit anyone to do these things. That's why they're all psychopaths, the police. There's no empathy. These are sick, deranged people who can sometimes put on a front. You can't be fooled by that front that they put on, that they have empathy. They don't have any. But psychopaths can put on a front. Here's a one-headed car right here, very clearly breaking the law, and you just saw the police there. So yeah, that's a method that they'll use. They'll exploit children. They'll exploit the elderly. Because these people who are part of the system, they have to do it. They have to do what, and it is literally like, I don't exaggerate when I say it's like a slave system. But you wouldn't know it just from looking around you, right? You wouldn't know that these things are going on if you're not awake and you're not aware of these things. So anyway, they got no police tonight, and then you see a one headlight car shortly after the police came by.
Station. Station Hartman.
Right at the door, you can see here. Street theater right here. As soon as I arrive, right at the door, I'm gonna get out. So check this out here. Check out his stand. Notice the look on the face of the short, bearded male constable. He's got like a smirk on his face, and he's pretty much giggling. And the supposed perpetrator, this person who they're dealing with to set up this fake acting skit,
was also smiling and looked to be on the verge of laughing. So they positioned them outside of both of the sets of doors where they knew I would be exiting, because there are cameras on the train and they can see where I'm sitting. And so they made sure that this silly little street theater skit was positioned right where they knew I would be exiting. And you can see this guy just totally making a mockery of his job, conducting himself like a child. And this is what these people are paid between $120,000 and $160,000 a year to do, to set up fake acting skits like this. And the individual who was supposedly causing the problem then gets onto the train, and I looked over at him, and he was still kind of smiling. And then when they saw that I was going to remain on the train and go to the next station to wait until this ridiculous skit was over with, the guy then gets back off the train again. So if there had been any serious issue where they had been restraining him or arresting him, would they have let him get onto the train and just leave? No, they wouldn't have. They would have been continuing on with this fake arrest, which wasn't even real. So of course they have this ridiculous stage play set up right at the doors where they know I was going to exit, and they've been doing these same silly street theater skits for 3 years, these constables. I have extensive footage of these little acting skits that they put on. So I do enjoy capturing footage like this because it just makes them look like ridiculous fools. And it shows how they make a mockery of their jobs and how they don't really do any legitimate work. And yeah, it's just embarrassing for them. So anyway, I'm glad to capture footage like this.
Right at the door.
Okay.
Street theater with this actor. You can see him laughing. Check it out. Just want to get them on camera here. So, standing right where they know I'm going to exit, laughing too.
Stop drinking. It's not doing you any good.
Okay. So I'm not going to get out there. I'm going to go to the next. Stop. There's all staged. Agent provocateur here. Fake. Look at him smirking too, the one guy there, the bearded guy. Street theater. And they're positioned right at the door where they know I'm going to exit too, right? It's a community-based agent, the guy there that they got to intentionally cause a disturbance there. Don't worry, they're on camera. I'm going to go one stop and come back to the next one. They made sure that they were positioned right at the door. They made sure they were positioned right at the door where they knew I was going to exit, so... Street theater set up there. You guys laughing too. Special Constables.
Next station, Tremblay.
That's all they do is stage fake events.
Via rail. Prochaine station, Tremblay. Via rail.
Yeah, you can see these are the doors they're going to exit. Literally right there, they're standing at the door.
Doors opening. Ouverture des portes.
Yeah, so you'll see they had that set up right at the doors, precisely at the doors where they knew I was going to exit, because there's cameras on the train, so they knew where I was sitting there. So as soon as I'm about to exit, they have this skit set up, Ottawa Special Constables, as usual, performing acting skits and getting paid to harass people. And the one guy's like giggling. Is that what you're going to be doing? Are you going to be like giggling if you're actually removing somebody who is causing a disturbance? If it was real? Of course not. So they tell them to do that to try and get an angry response. You know how much footage I have of them doing these things? I could put together a compilation that would probably be hours of them doing these ridiculous staged little skits. So anyway, there's just more footage tonight. So I'm coming back to the other side now. I'm suspecting they're still going to be there when I go back, but I'm not going to obviously exit through those doors, because that's what they wanted. They wanted me to, respond angrily or something. While they're doing that, it's important to note that, as I've shown in numerous videos, you have people literally doing hard drugs at these transit stations, these transit terminals, and there's no one there to deal with them. They're nowhere in sight when that happens. But as soon as I arrive, as you see tonight, they're right there. I also have
a lot of footage of people trespassing at these transit terminals. And again, even though there's cameras everywhere, those constables are nowhere in sight when people are trespassing at the station. Yet the moment I get there, they're right there to do ridiculous things like that. You can see how just childish these people are too. Imagine your job requires you to pretend to do something that you're not really doing and just put on theatrical performances, and you just make a total mockery of it by like giggling. Like, are you going to be like giggling like a child if you were actually dealing with a serious situation like that? Of course not. So they bring in people who are these slaves from the communitarian system who have to do everything they're told for the quote-unquote betterment of the community or the greater good of the community. They have no choice. They have to do it once they've signed on. And then they'll set up a scenario to make it look like that person has caused a disturbance. They've done this time and time again for like 3 years. So I should really put together a compilation just so you can see how many times they set things up like that right when I arrive. It's just embarrassing. And they make a mockery of their jobs, and childish, immature people with the intelligence of gerbils, with the IQs of gerbils. So they show it again there tonight. Well done. I suspect they'll be parked down below. Yeah, they send in people. So those activities that they're doing, it's right here. Those activities that they're doing, that type of training, that's identical. That type of stuff. These are techniques that are literally were used by the East German Stasi with setting up cloak and dagger activities, fake skits like that, as part of the harassment. You can even read up on that. Those are methods that they use. So they've been trained specifically in methods used by the communist Stasi to harass people. And most of those people involved in it are psychopaths, so they have no qualms about doing things like that. They have no qualms about making a mockery of their jobs and misrepresenting what they do and conducting themselves like children. So, but you've seen how many times, numerous times I've shown people actually doing hard drugs in these transit terminals, and those people are nowhere there in sight. Yet as soon as I show up, they're there to start giggling and performing an acting skit. So again, grown adults who conduct themselves like absolute children, and an embarrassment to their profession. All of them too. Let's see if they're still here. They probably are. It's just 10 now, so yeah, they're still out there. You can see the cars, 2 cars there. It's still there, sitting there doing nothing, getting paid to do nothing as usual. So anyway, I'm gonna go out here. We'll see if they follow along. Probably they will. But anyway, let's see here. And this guy's going to go to the left where I'm going to go. You'll see they'll have a lookout person down here too, of course, on this side. Take a look on this side here. I think there'll be somebody here. Is there? Not on that side there. So as you noticed yesterday, they had the this actor's gonna come down here. Yesterday they had the paramedics doing a skit right as I got to the bus stop there, and he's gonna go the way I'm gonna go. And then tonight they have these people right at the doors where I'm gonna exit. Now I could literally show you, if you look at my videos over the past 3 years, you will see that these people have done these things dozens of times. So there's zero chance that that would occur. And in many of them, like the other one where they're parked back here, the one guy's sitting on top of his car and like giggling, while like 4 of them pretend to arrest a vagrant who was just sitting there. And then the one guy, the one constable, pulls out his cell phone and starts filming me with his personal cell phone while claiming that they actually have to arrest a vagrant. It's just ridiculous. It's childish. But those types of activities actually, they're trained in specific methods that were used by the Stasi in East Germany. Exactly the same. These cloak and daggers. Another actor coming here. We'll just move down here for a second. They're still parked out there too. Those are the same activities that they, and obviously there, because there's cameras all throughout the train, they knew exactly where I was sitting, so they'd have it set up right at the doors. So they don't do any real work, these people. Like I said many times, I reiterate, that's all they do is stage fake interactions, because there's no crime in Ottawa. There's nothing that really goes on that even requires these people to be in their positions. The transit terminals are quiet. There's no issues. So they just need to pay them $160,000 a year to sit in their cars staring at their cell phones and watching movies and performing stage plays like that. So that's what you get. And this is an act here. Obviously we'll just wait till this Muppet goes by and we'll proceed on up the pathway, and we'll see if they follow along up the pathway. I think they will. Okay, so we'll go up this way. But as he leaves, see right away as soon as he leaves. Next one comes by, and this guy's just gonna sit here doing lookout. Oh, they already know which direction I'm gonna go anyway, so okay. Let's see, what time is it now? 10:03. You know what? I'll just cross from here. We'll see if they pull out as I cross. They might. Anyway, good footage. I got them on camera anyway. So those are new ones though. I don't recognize those people. So, you know, they've changed them up. They've got new ones in these positions. There's a lot of the other ones that I know I've recognized. I've seen many times. I don't think the one guy I might have seen, the guy with the beard, but the other two I don't recognize. Unless I'll have to look at the footage, but yeah, that's, you get paid $160,000 a year to perform staged theatrical performances, because there's no crime in Ottawa, and they actually have to bring people in to set up fake scenarios to make it look like they're actually doing any work. It's just embarrassing. But that's what you have here. It's the times we live in, so we'll take a look. Yeah, they're still over there. They're just getting ready to leave now. Is that guy out there with them still? Oh yeah, is it the same guy? Why would they be looking? No, notice how long they're going on with this too. Notice how long it's going on. Like, wouldn't they have done all this? They took them off the train before I got back on. Now they're going to leave now. I'm going to go up this way, see if they drive by me. I'll go up this way. Ridiculous. Yeah, it's been a few months since they did one of those, but like I said, I've got years of evidence of them doing these things. And a number of them, they'll have a scenario set up where it'll be either, same type of thing, where they're taking like a vagrant or someone causing a disturbance off. The one time as soon as I walk into Rideau Center, I think it was, right through the gates, immediately two of them abruptly appear, and there's a homeless guy shouting, and they just pretend to remove him. Then as I move up the other way, to go up the staircase, I come back, they're gone in like 2 minutes, and I come over to an elevator on the opposite side, and then they positioned the two of them right in front of the elevator so that they'd be there right as I get out, hoping that I'd say something or get angry or something. But you can see the type of people who they hired for these positions. They're just really, you can understand why they hire them, because they're not very sharp at all. They're just childish people. So are they going to come by? They'll drive by me up here probably. We'll see. See if we can get another clip of them here. Then they're going to have a bunch of CSIS actors coming on both sides here, as you'll see here. It's just about 10:05 or 10:06 p.m. now. So a couple people staring at phones here on both sides there. As you can see, there's buses that run up and down this street, so you wouldn't really be walking if you're going to the station ordinarily. But these people are. So anyway, some footage for tonight. It was a little bit of a slow week up until there, so we got some footage there. But to those methods of doing those things, that is directly out of the playbook of the East German Stasi. These are communist methods. That they've been trained in these things. And it's part of the harassment. It's so that the subject will know it. Obviously, I'm going to know it because it's right at the doors where I was going to exit. And also because they've done these things hundreds of times. The same thing. So, the more they do it, the more ridiculous they look. While they're doing that, you have people doing hard drugs right in those terminals that they're responsible for, and they're doing nothing about that. They're not even there when that happens, even though there's cameras everywhere in those terminals. Okay, you see this here? So the guy, he comes up here, he turns. Did you see what he just did there? So he comes off the trail here, he turns and he goes back in the opposite direction. Oh no, he's going down there. Okay. Yeah, well, why'd you come up here for? Why didn't you just cross onto that side? But yeah, so while they're doing that, there's cameras everywhere in those terminals. So they're monitoring everything. It's a surveillance state. We already know this. Anyone with sense knows this. So if there's cameras everywhere, why aren't they showing up when you got people shooting up, doing heroin and crack in your stations? Why are you just... Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for not knowing it's happening because you're monitoring me on the cameras when I'm arriving there. So how can you not see it? Okay, so see this skit here on this side here, and a bunch more people swarming around up there. I'm just gonna keep walking. You can see there's just somebody standing in the middle of the trail here, staring at a phone. It's all just stupid theater. Yeah. Now he starts to move as I start to come towards. They routinely exploit homeless people too. But yeah, so that situation, you gotta, you don't really have to wonder why hard drugs are so readily available in this country, because people like that are allowing that to happen, and the police as well, obviously. So they know that, they have to know that's happening because it's on the cameras, you can see it. So why would you not be dealing with that? And instead, we'll see them come up here probably. Usually they turn there on that side. Oh, they haven't come up here yet. But why would you be putting time and effort into doing something like that, performing a ridiculous stage play, when you have people literally like doing crack and heroin and meth and every other drug under the sun right in your terminals and right out in the open? It's just ridiculous. It's an inversion. Everything is an inversion these days of normalcy, of decency. And they have to hire just really, really dumb people for these positions too, because childlike people, like the one guy there, he's just like cackling while he's like giggling. You're not going to be doing that if you're dealing with a real situation like that. And of course they know, I'll know that when I see it. So it's supposed to like, but I've seen these things so many times, it's like, it's not going to evoke an angry reaction. It's just going to, I'm going to do commentary later to make you look like an idiot. That's all it does. So they fail with that, trying to get some angry reaction, and they just make themselves look like ridiculous fools. And that's what they've been doing for 3 years. Okay, right as I'm just leaving now, you can see this right here. You saw last night on the train, pulling out right as I'm leaving here. Not the special constable this morning, right as I leave. Not the special constable this morning, right as I leave. Obviously, again, they received an alert just as I was leaving. So last night they show up to set up a street theater skit right at the doors where I was going to exit. Today, right as I leave, they're showing up to drive in front of me, literally the moment I leave. So see, stalking from them. Again, just a group of grown adults who conduct themselves like children. and stalk and harass law-abiding citizens for a living. Looks like there's maybe some sort of car over there too. I don't know if it's police. I'm not going to stop and wait. So again, you can see they're waiting for me to wait for my point when I was leaving to show up there.